Picture this. It's the final round. The crowd's silent. Your opponent's staring you down. Every muscle in your body is screaming. Every voice in your head is telling you to quit. But then, something shifts. Your breathing steadies. Your vision sharpens. You don't think. You act. And you win. Now here's a question nobody asks. What just changed in your brain? Because it wasn't willpower. It wasn't motivation. It wasn't some mystical force of determination that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. It was something far more primal. Something that's been shaping champions, leaders, and survivors for thousands of years. Scientists call it the winner effect. And once you understand how it works, you can activate it on command. This isn't about positive thinking. This isn't about affirmations or vision boards. This is about the hard biology of what happens in your brain when you win. And more importantly, what happens when you lose. By the end of this video, you're going to understand why some people seem unstoppable while others crumble under pressure. You're going to see the exact neurological mechanisms that separate champion from everyone else. And you're going to learn how to hijack this system for yourself. Let me take you inside the brain of a winner. When you succeed at something difficult, your brain doesn't just celebrate. It restructures itself. Here's what happens at a biological level. The moment you win, whether it's a debate, a competition, or even a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, your hypothalamus releases a surge of testosterone. Not a little, a massive spike. This testosterone floods into specific regions of your brain. The amygdala, which controls your emotional responses. The prefrontal cortex, which handles decision-making and risk assessment. The nucleus accumbens, your brain's reward center. And here's where it gets fascinating. Your brain has testosterone receptors. Think of them like doors scattered throughout these neural regions. When testosterone hits these doors, they swing open. And what floods in? Dopamine, confidence, aggression, focus. But here's the key. The more you win, the more receptors your brain builds. It's called neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to physically change its structure based on your experiences. Every victory, no matter how small, tells your brain, build more doors. We're going to need them. And the next time you face a challenge, you don't freeze. You don't hesitate. You charge. Now, this isn't theory. This is observable biology that's been documented in laboratories around the world. In 2010, neuroscientist Ian Robertson studied this effect in athletes competing in various sports. He found that winners experienced a 20% increase in testosterone after a single victory. But losers? Their testosterone dropped by the same amount. One outcome. Two completely different brain states. Think about that for a second. The same competition, the same physical exertion. But depending on whether you won or lost, your brain chemistry shifted in completely opposite directions. And it compounds. Winners who kept winning built more receptors. Their brains became wired for dominance, for resilience, for what we call mental toughness. Their amygdala learned to interpret threats as challenges. Their prefrontal cortex became more efficient at making quick decisions under pressure. Their entire nervous system calibrated itself for performance. But the losers? They entered a spiral, a biological trap that's almost invisible until you understand the science behind it. And that trap has a name: learned helplessness. It's one of the most dangerous psychological states a human being can enter. And chances are you've experienced it without even knowing what was happening to you. In 1967, psychologist Martin Seligman ran an experiment that would change our understanding of human motivation forever. He placed dogs in a cage and subjected them to mild electric shocks. At first, the dogs tried to escape. They jumped. They clawed. They fought with everything they had. But the cage was designed so they couldn't escape. No matter what they did, the shocks kept coming. After a while, something heartbreaking happened. The dogs stopped trying. They just lay there, whimpering, accepting the pain. But here's a truly devastating part. Even when Seligman opened the cage door, even when escape was possible, even when freedom was just a few steps away, the dogs just lay there. They didn't even try. They'd learned that effort was pointless, that their actions didn't matter, that they were helpless. They'd been conditioned into surrender. Now here's the terrifying part. Humans do the same thing. You apply for a job, rejected. You start a business. It fails. You ask someone out. They say no. You try to change a habit. You relapse. You set a goal. You fall short. And after enough failures, something shifts in your brain. Your neurochemistry starts to change. Your brain stops building testosterone receptors. It starts dismantling them. Your amygdala becomes hyperactive, constantly scanning for threats and interpreting neutral situations as dangerous. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, planning, and rational thought, goes quiet. Your baseline cortisol levels rise. Your dopamine sensitivity drops. Your serotonin production decreases. You stop taking risks. You stop trying. You start playing defense with your entire life. You tell yourself, I'm just not that kind of person. I'm not lucky like they are. I don't have what it takes. And the worst part? These aren't just thoughts. They are biological realities that have been encoded into your neural architecture. Your brain has literally rewired itself for helplessness. But here's what most people don't realize, and this is where everything changes. Learn helplessness isn't permanent. It's not a life sentence. It's not a character flaw. It's not proof that you're weak or broken or fundamentally flawed. It's just a pattern, a neural pathway that's been reinforced through repetition. Because just as your brain can spiral downward, it can spiral upward. The same mechanisms that trapped you can set you free. You just need to understand the algorithm. So how do you activate the winner effect when you're stuck in a losing streak? How do you rewire a brain that's been conditioned for helplessness? How do you break free from a pattern that feels like it's hardwired into your very identity? Let me show you exactly how this works. Your brain doesn't care about the size of the victory. It cares about the frequency. This is critical to understand because most people get this completely backwards. They think they need some massive breakthrough, some life-changing achievement, some moment where everything clicks into place and they finally prove to themselves that they're capable. But that's not how neuroplasticity works. You don't need to win a championship. You don't need to close $1 million deal. You don't need to make some grand gesture that proves you changed. You need to win something. Today, make your bed. Finish that email you've been putting off. Do 10 push-ups. Read for 15 minutes. Clean your kitchen. Reply to that text. Complete one small task you said you'd do. These aren't motivational cliches. They are biological triggers. Every micro-win releases a small dose of testosterone and dopamine into your system. Every completed task, no matter how insignificant it seems, tells your brain, we did what we said we'd do. We're competent. We're in control. And over time, these doses compound. Your brain starts building receptors again. It starts remembering what winning feels like. It starts shifting from a defensive posture to an offensive one. Think of it like training a muscle. You don't walk into a gym and deadlift 500 pounds on your first day. Your body isn't capable of it. The neural pathways aren't there. The muscle fibers haven't adapted. You start with a bar. You add 5 pounds. Then 10. Then 20. Slowly. Progressively. Consistently. Your brain works the same way. It needs proof that effort leads to results. It needs evidence that action creates outcomes. It needs to rebuild the connection between what you do and what happens. Stack the wins. Build the momentum. Let the biology do the work. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to hear. You can't build mental toughness in a safe environment. You can't develop resilience without resistance. You can't train courage without fear. You can't build confidence without risk. Your brain needs resistance. It needs stakes. It needs the possibility of failure. That's why cold showers work. Not because they make you tougher through some mystical willpower mechanism, but because they trigger a stress response that your brain has to overcome. Every time you step into that cold water and stay there, you're teaching your amygdala, this is uncomfortable, but it won't kill us. We can handle this. That's why hard workouts work. When you push your body past its comfort zone, when your muscles are burning and your lungs are screaming and every fiber of your being wants to stop, and you keep going anyway, that's not just physical training. That's neurological training. That's why public speaking terrifies people. It's not actually dangerous. Nobody's going to die. But your amygdala interprets social judgment as a threat to your survival. And when you face that fear and speak anyway, you're literally reprogramming your threat detection system. Because they are conflicts. And when you voluntarily enter conflict and win, your brain registers it as dominance, as competence, as evidence that you're the kind of person who functions under pressure. It doesn't matter that it's self-imposed. It doesn't matter that you chose a challenge. The biology is the same. Your brain doesn't distinguish between winning a fight and winning against yourself. Victory is victory. So find your control conflicts. Sign up for that competition. Have that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Take on that project that scares you. Apply for that job you think you're not qualified for. Put yourself in situations where you might fail, where the outcome isn't guaranteed, where you have to perform under pressure. Because every time you face fear and come out the other side, your brain builds another receptor, another door, another pathway to resilience. Now let's talk about something that most people completely misunderstand. Failure. Most people avoid failure because they think it defines them. They think it's a verdict on their worth, their intelligence, their potential. But here's what neuroscience shows. Your brain doesn't process failure as identity. It processes it as prediction error. Let me explain what that means. Your brain is constantly making predictions about the world. When you take an action, your brain predicts what will happen. If the prediction is correct, your neural pathways get reinforced. If the prediction is wrong, your brain updates its model. When you fail, your brain prediction system gets updated. It's not saying, you're a loser, you're inadequate, you'll never succeed. It's saying, that approach didn't work. Adjust. It's pure information, pure feedback, no judgment attached. This is how champions think. This is how scientists think. This is how winners think. Thomas Edison didn't fail 1,000 times creating a light bulb. He found 1,000 ways that didn't work. Each failure eliminated one possibility and brought him closer to the solution. Michael Jordan missed over 9,000 shots in his career. He was defeated in hundreds of games. He had the opportunity to take the game-winning shot dozens of times and missed. He said it made him better. Because every miss taught him something. Every loss refined his approach. Because they understood something crucial. Failure is feedback, not a verdict. It's data. It's information. It's a tuition you pay for education. So the next time you fail, ask yourself, what worked? What didn't? What will I try next? That's it. That's the loop. What did I do? What happened? What do I learn from this? What will I do differently? And every time you complete that loop, every time you extract the lesson instead of internalizing the shame, you're reinforcing the winner effect. You're training your brain to see setbacks as setups, to see obstacles as information, to see problems as puzzles. And here's something most people never discover, something that might sound like pseudoscience until you see the research. Visualization isn't woo-woo, it's neuroscience. Studies using fMRI scans show that when you vividly imagine performing an action, your brain activates the same neural pathways as if you were actually doing it. The motor cortex fires. The amygdala responds. The testosterone receptors open. Dopamine gets released. Your brain can't tell the difference between a real victory and a vividly imagined one. This has been demonstrated with athletes, musicians, surgeons, anyone who performed complex motor skills under pressure. Basketball players who visualized free throws improved almost as much as players who physically practiced them. Pianists who mentally rehearsed pieces showed similar neural activation patterns to those who physically practiced. But here's the key. It has to be intense. You can't just passively daydream about success. You can't just think vague thoughts about winning someday. You have to feel it. You have to engage every sense. You have to make it visceral. Close your eyes. See yourself in the arena. Hear the crowd. Feel your heartbeat. Taste the adrenaline. Feel the weight of the moment. See the challenge in front of you. Feel the doubt trying to creep in. And then see yourself pushing through it. Watch yourself execute. Watch yourself win. See yourself winning. Feel the surge of relief and triumph. Feel your posture change. Feel the confidence flooding your system. Do this every day. 5 minutes. That's all it takes. And watch what happens. Your brain starts preparing for victory before the battle even begins. Your nervous system starts calibrating for performance. Your amygdala starts interpreting pressure as excitement instead of threat. You're literally training your brain to expect success. Here's the beautiful thing about the winner effect. It's a spiral, not a ladder, not a straight line. A spiral. Every win makes the next win easier. Every challenge you overcome builds a machinery to overcome the next one. Every time you face fear and function anyway, you're making it easier to do it again. You're not just collecting victories. You're becoming a different person. Your brain is reshaping itself. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your identity is evolving. The stories you tell yourself are changing. The way you interpret setbacks is shifting. The baseline emotional state you operate from is rising. And at some point, you cross a threshold. It's not dramatic. There's no lightning bolt moment where everything suddenly makes sense. You just realize one day that the things that used to terrify you don't anymore. The fear doesn't go away, but you stop being controlled by it. The doubt doesn't disappear, but you stop listening to it. The anxiety doesn't vanish, but you stop letting it make your decisions. You become someone who acts in the face of uncertainty, someone who moves when others freeze, someone who sees obstacles and thinks, interesting. Let's see if I can solve this. That's mental toughness. Not the absence of fear, but the ability to function through it. Not the absence of doubt, but the ability to act despite it. Not the absence of pain, but the ability to move forward anyway. This is what separates champions from everyone else. Not talent, not luck, not genetics. It's this: they've trained their brains to spiral upward instead of downward. They've built the neural architecture for resilience. They've developed the biological machinery for mental toughness. And here's the thing that should give you hope. So can you. So let me leave you with this. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can keep telling yourself the story that you're not strong enough, not smart enough, not tough enough, not the kind of person who achieves difficult things. You can keep living in the pattern of learned helplessness, letting your past failures define your future possibilities. Or you can understand that mental toughness isn't a trait you're born with. It's not a genetic lottery. It's not a personality type. It's not something that some people have and others don't. It's a process, a biological algorithm, a trainable skill. Start small, stack the wins, enter the conflicts, reframe the failures, visualize the victories, and watch as your brain rebuilds itself. Watch as your nervous system recalibrates. Watch as you become someone you didn't think was possible. Because the winner effect doesn't care where you started. It doesn't care about your history. It doesn't care about your excuses or your reasons or your justifications. It only cares where you're going. It only cares what you do next. The question is, are you ready to activate it? If this video helped you understand something about yourself, hit that like button. If you want more content on the psychology of high performance and mental toughness, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And drop a comment below telling me, what's the first micro win you're going to stack today? What's the control conflict you've been avoiding? What's a fear you're finally ready to face? I read every comment, and I want to know what you're working on. Remember, your brain is waiting for evidence. Give it proof. Start today. I'll see you in the next one.